We are going to start with our water. So you need 3 cups in front of you and your water and your teaspoon. The first thing to do, or tablespoon, sorry. First thing to do is put 3 tablespoons of water into each cup. We're measuring it out because we are going to be making sugar solutions of different densities. So we're gonna pack different amounts of sugar into these, but we're going to have the same amount of water. So 3 tablespoons into 3 cups. And I just scooped, you can pour if that's easier. Just want to make sure you're getting 3 full tablespoons. Your cups should have the same amount of water. That's the really important part, is that each of these cups has the same amount of water in it. All right, giving folks a second to do that. Looking good. All right, next we want our liquid watercolors. We'll put them in rainbow order. So we're gonna go red, yellow, and then blue. If you're using food coloring, you should have these colors available as well. And you're just going to add a couple drops. So a couple drops of red into that first cup. Get it to the shade that you want. A few drops of yellow into the second cup there. And lastly, some blue into that last cup. So we've got our 3 primary colors. Now, so far, these all have the same amount of molecules packed into them, right? We've only put in water and food coloring, so they've got the same stuff. But now we're going to add sugar, and that's what will help us change the density of these solutions. So your first cup, your red cup, is going to stay just how it is. We're not adding any extra material into there. It's just going to be water and food coloring. For your second cup, you want to dry your table.
1 second, I think we might have a question. Gavin,
Right.
do you have your hand up? Nope, okay, I'm cutting off. Sorry, Emily.
No worries. So you want to dry your tablespoon because we're going to dip it into the sugar now, and you don't want all the sugar to just stick to the water. So grab 2 tablespoons of sugar into the yellow cup. So we're going to carefully measure out 2 tablespoons of sugar. And when you're done with that, you can add 4 tablespoons of sugar to your blue. Two, 3, and 4. All right, what happened to your sugar when you added it in? Where did it go? Here, I'm gonna look at my blue. So for me, all of my sugar has now settled to the bottom. The sugar is denser than the water. Which of these cups has the most stuff in it now? So yeah, so I see you're holding up your blue, right? So our blue has the most stuff. This will be our densest solution. But because all our sugar has settled out, we need to do some more work. We need to mix up our solution so that all that sugar dissolves into the water. So for this, I've been using a knife to mix. You can also use your spoon or your tablespoon, but you're going to want to mix really hard till all that sugar is dissolved. How will you know when your sugar is dissolved? I like to look at the bottom and make sure I can't see any sugar resting there. It's gonna take a little bit of time. Maybe Peter can sing us a song while we mix.
I'm gonna pass on that. I don't think any of you really want to hear me sing a song today, but
all right, well, we'll just mix away then. Nice and quick. It's kind of hard work to dissolve all that sugar. All right, my yellow's looking pretty good. That was the one with less sugar, so I think this blue will be even harder. I'm gonna move on to that now. And probably while I'm mixing, some of the sugar will settle back out of my yellow, so I'll go back and mix it again. The good news is we don't have to mix the red up. Getting some sugar stuck to the side here, but that's okay. I'm not going to worry about that too much. Mostly I just want to make sure that there's no sugar on the bottom of my cup. Okay. Let's see. Looks like Alex and Dexter are done mixing. Jerome, are you done mixing, or do you have a question?
Do the colors have to be the primary, or can they just be other colors too?
That's a great question. You can use any colors you want, but just remember which one you put the most sugar into, okay? That's what's important, is the amount of sugar for when we try to layer these, which is the next step. All right. Okay, mine are looking decent. My yellow is really well dissolved. The blue is a lot trickier because there was a lot more sugar. So I'm just gonna mix that for 10 more seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Some of you I can see have assistance. I tried to get my dog to help me mix, but he was not at all interested this morning. Okay, so now you have your 3 solutions. You've got, I have blue with the most sugar. You might have a different color. Yellow has a medium amount of sugar, and then my red has no sugar. So, because I know that whatever has the most stuff in the same amount of space is going to be densest, I think my blue will be densest and will sink to the bottom. So I'm going to start with blue when I pour it into my cup. This is where you'll need a 4th cup or jar and your spoon. Okay, so I'm going to start by filling the bottom of my jar here with some of the blue, some of the color that has the most sugar dissolved into it. Looks kind of syrupy and thick, right? It's not just water anymore, it's pretty viscous now. Not gonna drink it, I think that would be really gross. So I've poured some of that blue into my mason jar. And here's the really, really tricky bit. I want to carefully pour a layer of yellow into my jar without letting my colors mix. And to do that, I need to slow the speed at which I pour. So I'm going to put this spoon right over my jar and pour over the back of the spoon very, very slowly with the hope that my colors don't mix too much. This is the really tricky part, and so if you don't get it right the first time, that's okay. It's something you can try again later. It took me a couple of tries this morning. And even as I pour, I'm getting a little bit of mixing, which is okay, because what color do green and yellow make? I mean, blue and yellow make? They make green. So I'm pouring very carefully. I'm getting some green, but I do have two distinct layers. Can you all see that? So there's blue on the bottom. There's a layer of green where it's mixed a little bit, and then there's some yellow. I'm gonna try to shift my camera so I can hold it up and show you a little bit better. I'm hoping you're getting similar results though, and that you're seeing this.
Yvonne, do you have a question or a comment? You can go ahead and unmute yourself. I think you're still, oh, there you go.
My jar didn't really, they didn't quite mix, but they did.
Yeah, you didn't get as many distinct layers as I did.
Yours is blue on the bottom and green on the top.
Yeah, and yours has mixed up a little bit more. So I think there are a few variables here. It might be that your glass is a different size, and so because it's bigger, everything has mixed quicker. It might be about the speed at which we poured, and it might just be practice. This is a really tricky one, and I've done it a couple of times. So I would suggest if you want to try again later, you can. Something that I experimented with this morning was adding different amounts of sugar and making more of a gap. I'm gonna try my red now. So the red has no sugar, so we're hoping it will just rest on the top. Definitely getting some mixing. This is mixable, this mixture, so eventually all these colors will mix together no matter what. But we're just hoping to add them gently enough that we get to see them layer by density first. So, a little bit hard to see, but I've got my blue, my green, my yellow and my red have mixed a little bit too, so it's kind of an orangish red. But you can definitely see that that densest solution with the most sugar is resting on the bottom, and it's holding up a layer of my medium solution. And then on top is that solution, the least dense, just the water.
It looks like on Benjamin's camera, there are some pretty similar results to yours. Those are awesome.
Yeah. Awesome. So it is really tricky, but you've all done a great job in mixing up those solutions. The layering part is the hardest, right? But what we know is that things that are more dense tend to sink, and things that are lighter will float, less dense. So this is a great way to test out the relative density of different things. People also use columns like this to test out soil and things because you get really nice layers. The big particles of soil settle to the bottom, and then the less big particles and on upward. So there is our density column. I encourage you to try again if it didn't work the first time. It didn't work the first time for me either. You can play with the amounts of water and sugar that you add. So you can try different variations and see if you can't get the experiment to work.